Welcome back. A coronavirus vaccine. Scientists around the world have been working around the clock to develop a vaccine, but are we even close? Joining us right now is the vice chairman of the surgery at Columbia University. He is the host of the Dr. Oz Show. Dr. Mehmet Oz is here. Dr. Oz, great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. What can you tell us in terms of the latest on a potential vaccine? Where are we now?
Making good progress on vaccines. I must point out across the board, we're making good progress. There are probably 100 different concepts, ideas, products, drugs that are in development with lots of clinical trials pursuing them. As everyone probably knows, the vaccine trials have started for some. In the end, it's going to take at least a year, probably 15 months to get these vaccines into clinical use. And you want that, Maria, because you don't want to have an error happen with the product you're given to 100 million or 200 million people. But once the testing is done and they've validated it, they know everything about the virus, they know where the weak spots are, and they'll be able to take it out. But in the meantime, I'm really thrilled that there are lots of trials now moving forward on treatment of people, either to prevent them from getting coronavirus. There's one trial like that happening at Columbia now, or to early treatment of people who test positive with COVID-19 virus, or folks who are having complications from the disease once they're actually in the hospital already. And all these different options are being led by diligent individuals, a lot of private companies involved, and it's wonderful to see the remarkable agility, the nimbleness of American industry.
So do you think that a treatment will be on the market over the near term? And what's your take, for example, on this anti-malaria drug being used to treat coronavirus? When would you expect some of these antivirals on the market, Dr. Oz?
Well, I had the opportunity to ask Vice President Pence that at a town hall earlier this week, and he said he was pleased that the FDA was going to allow these products to be used by doctors as they desire. It's already approved for use of malaria, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, I mean, a bunch of conditions that do benefit from hydroxychloroquine. But here's the big thing. We don't have double-blind randomized data, the kind the FDA needs to make decisions on these products. In that particular case, the anti-malarial drug is used in China. It's actually part of their strategy for treating coronavirus, but we've never seen, at least I haven't seen, I've looked pretty aggressively for randomized data. I did have the French physician on, Didier Raoult, who did the pioneering work in France. He's very well respected there, and they're using it in some centers now. And it worked for him. He was able to reduce the levels of virus.
I love that you had him on. Dagan, jump in here.
Dr. Oz, Dagan McDowell, what about the testing, the serological testing for antibodies to see who has built up antibodies, who has had this disease? A friend of mine who works in an emergency room, one of my oldest friends, had double pneumonia in early February and was actually put on a ventilator, and they believe that he actually had the disease, and this is kind of critical to getting us all back to work too.
Absolutely essential to have antibody testing. I tell you what I would do, just isolate some small part of, for example, New York City, which has been horribly hit by this virus, and just figure out how many people actually have had it, because we think that up to 50% of people don't even know they've had it, or their symptoms are so mild they ignore them, they power through them. I saw data, again, this is unpublished data, looking at stool specimens, and there's a lot of people who have coronavirus in their stool. It obviously comes out of all your orifices, and they never expect that they had coronavirus. Don't even know. When they were checking people coming off cruise ships for whether they had it in their nose, which is active infection. There are a lot of people who were contagious but didn't know they were ill. I mean, Boris Johnson was probably pretty well isolated. That's stated. He still just tested positive, probably because someone who was asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic got too close to him. And he was probably pre-symptomatic, expressing virus to people in his cabinet and folks around him as well.
That's really fascinating. And by the way, Boris Johnson says he's going to isolate now after testing positive. Let me ask you about children, Dr. Oz, because more children have now become infected with coronavirus. The latest, of course, this 3-month-old in New York, the youngest victim in the United States. How concerned should parents be about the spread of coronavirus to their children?
Well, you're always worried it's your kid. It's the most vulnerable part of you. It's your Achilles tendon. That stated, there has not been a death in a child under age 10. Very few severe illnesses and people under the age of 20. So young people seem to be spared from this virus. There was a child in the UK that, as a newborn, was diagnosed with having COVID-19 virus, and we believe she got it from the birth canal because we don't think the virus goes across the amniotic fluid. These are all good things. We have enough problems to worry about. This virus hurts in many ways. Lots of people struggling with it, but it's thankfully, I don't think we should add at least lethal complications in young kids to that list yet.
All right, Dr. Oz, thanks very much for your insights this morning. Great to see you.